That's a loud bird. Good intro for Questions to Nutnfancy. We call it QTN here in TMP. Thanks for watching. How to best intro this episode. So many ways, but I'll say this, in this, again, loud location, bear with me. After going through these letters that you guys have sent to the P.O. box, address at the top, it is a privilege for me to come before you and do this. That's not sound effects, by the way, that's real. Oh my gosh, those birds are loud. I love them though. It is a privilege, and reading your letters, especially the ones we're going to go to in this episode, is humbling for me. It was difficult to get through a few of them, and you may see that emotion play out in this installment of QTN. It makes it real. We don't hide emotions. It is what it is, and I will do my best answering your questions. First things first, guess where I was a half hour ago? Now, looking at the background, you might say, dude, you're out windsurfing, sailboating. I like where you're going. I like what you're thinking. No, I didn't have time for that. I was actually on my hotel bed watching NFL Sunday. Yes, I love NFL. Love it. I kind of hidden that. A couple TMPers have picked up on it. In my tweets, they go, dude, you're an NFL guy? My teams are Dallas and Patriots. Whoa! Don't hate on me. Right now, I'm being distracted as we speak. The TV's turned to me. The Green Bay Panther game. Green Bay's up 38-10. I love watching Aaron Rodgers work. Man, what a quarterback. What a quarterback. But check this out, and this is a good lead into what we're going to talk about in this QTN. How do I best spend my day today in the limited free time I have? I could sit on the bed watching NFL, and for me, it would be fun, it would be enjoyable, but is it the best expenditure of my time? As I look back on it, is it the best use of my time? Or is it better to connect with you? Is it better to do the work and to put some thought and heart into your questions and maybe in some small way help you? The answer is obvious, and that will be a theme for this episode of QTN. How do we best spend our time? There's good ways to spend our time. Watching NFL, that's not a bad way. It's harmless, it's fun, it's pretty much wholesome, right? But is it the best way? Can we involve ourselves in something more meaningful as we look back on it in the span of time and go, yes, I did on this particular Sunday, this is what I did. And I will always remember on this Sunday in October 2014, I did an episode of QTN. I didn't get to all the letters. I have 200 more waiting for me, but I got to some. It's like that story, I don't know if I've told it before on camera, but there's a dude throwing starfish back in the ocean. They're all on the beach, they're all washed up, and some person comes up and goes, why are you throwing, all these starfish back in the ocean? It doesn't make any difference at all. Like, I can only get to a fraction of these questions. And he answered, well, it makes a difference to this one, as he throws another one back in the ocean. In a lot of ways, that's how our lives are. We can't maybe affect grand change, but we got to try. And we've got to live true to our integrity, and we've got to live true to our hearts, and that's all you see me do. As imperfectly as I do it, and it's going to be totally imperfect. I'm going to start off with Otis Elliott in Missouri, and I may say your name and your state, I hope you don't mind, but I want to give you credit for sending these awesome letters in, and the more I see them, the more I like them. The letters, I just love them. It's old school correspondence, and a lot of what I do in TMP kind of harkens back to traditional stuff. I don't want us to lose it. That a handwritten note is so important in this, this day where everything's text, everything's email. Write a letter. Write a letter. And for me, logistically, it just helps me because I have it in writing. I don't have to go print it out, search it out, find a laptop, all that stuff. So I like it. Otis says, thank you. And I may jump in and out of these guys' letters, but for time's sake, I've actually kind of scribbled some notes. Quick peek. Whoop. So yeah, it took a little work to prep for this one because I want to get through more. I want to throw more starfish back in the water if I can. He's been watching since 2008. Longtime TMPer. Thank you. You are the heart and soul of the project. I love all the newcomers too. Love you, mean it. Love it. But guys who've been with me ever since the beginning, wow. I mean, yeah, they're the ones that keep me going. I appreciate you guys. He's 25 years old. He's married. He has a baby girl. And he lives on a ranch. So he has a lot of place to go adventuring. They have, I think, four-wheelers. They go shooting on their ranch out there in Missouri. But his question is as follows. How do I motivate my brothers to adventure and not be addicted to video games? I might jump in his letter for this. And bear with me as I dig this out. I would like to know your tips and advice on getting people motivated. Each day is a gift, as you have said. Very perceptive, and that's what we're talking about. And we need to make the most of each one. He gets it. If I plan a trip or a shooting session and kind of take the lead, then it's not too hard to get them off the couch. What can I do to impart to them the drive to go solo for an overnight or go out and explore a piece of acreage they haven't seen much of? And backing up, he says, my problem is that 9 times out of 10, my brothers are content to sit around and tap on their smartphones and play video games. I would like to know your tips and advice on getting people motivated. That is a great question. Thank you. And he also makes a note, I know that Tactical Doodle and Last Suspect also suffer from this same affliction. That is a true statement. At times, they are not at times, most often, to be honest with you, they are not motivated at all to go out and do the work necessary for the testing and review, to go out backpacking, hauling the gear. Me, being raised by an adventure father, as you know, Grandpa Nutnfancy, it's in my blood. Okay, the work ethic in my blood. Don't get me wrong, the boys also have a great work ethic, but if you say, hey, you got a day to spend free. My youngest, Last Suspect, what does he want to do? Video games. Without fail. It's a constant source of conflict within our house. I'm just being honest with you guys. And I don't know if I have the absolute answer because Mrs Nutnfancy, she's like, she's not really on board. She doesn't care. Let him do it. And I was like, he doesn't want to go out and do that hard stuff with you. He doesn't want to go out on a motorcycling trip, on a mountain biking trip. Sounds crazy, right? It's part of this generation we see. If it were up to me, I would smoke every video game in the world. Just get rid of it. Now, some of you guys, I realize you're like, hey, wait a minute, man, that's extreme. I have an adventure life. I've read it all. I know where you're coming from. I have an adventure life. I have my priorities squared away. And this is what Doodle says to me all the time. He's like, hey, in your generation, it was movies. You'd go to a movie, and he's right. We'd go to a movie for relaxation, for fun. But nowadays, with the millennials, and this generation, they go to video games. But it becomes an addiction. It becomes a lifestyle. Maybe that's a better word than addiction. And that's how they want to spend their time. My youngest son is that way. Given a Saturday, I'd rather sit down, link in with the boys, go play Modern Warfare, whatever the game is, and there's your day. Let's get back to my NFL example. Is that necessarily a bad way to spend a day? It's not bad. Is it an investment of time? No. Will you look back on that Saturday in his case and say, hey, remember when we got the high score, we really smoked those guys online? No. It will blow away in the wind. There's no substance to it. Spending your time in an electronic realm doesn't translate to anything meaningful. And when I said I would love to smoke all video games, I mean that. Because it's kind of like my latest video I post. At what cost? I talked about speed traps, roadblocks. Do they serve some good? Maybe. It's a big maybe, by the way. Video games, do they serve some good? Maybe. It's a big maybe. But at what cost? Here you have a kid in Missouri whose brothers don't even want to go out with them. Hey, let's go camping tonight. Let's check him with a score. 38-10, Green Bay, sorry. Let's go camping tonight. And they're like, nah, we're good. They're on their smartphones. I had a friend of mine, he said, dude, check this out. I had a friend I hadn't seen for like 10 years. We finally hooked up, said, yeah, you got to come to Arizona. He goes down to Arizona. He has a wife and kid, this friend of his does, and he's hosts them. And the first day was fun. He's like, hey, we went out to eat. We didn't really go shooting. I really want to do some shooting. And, we went out to eat, saw a few of the local sites, and we go back to his place. He breaks out the iPad, starts tapping around. And this is like 8 o'clock at night, and the night goes by with him just on the iPad, dicking around, checking websites. Well, hopefully TMP. I doubt it though. Day goes by. He's there for 3 days. Day 2, day 3, guess what that dude did to host his friend? He sat on his sofa the whole time playing video games. Either on the iPad, his computer, or on a console. Xboxing. I said to this guy, I was like, dude, why didn't you just bail? He's like, I wanted to. He's like, I couldn't believe it. I mean, I came all this way to visit my friend, and this is how he hosted me. I was like, and this is interesting. I said, will you remember that visit? He's like, yeah, I will, but not in a good way. And nor will I ever go back to that dude. Versus, what if the guy said, hey dude, I got an extra dirt bike, I got 2 motorcycles, let's go out in the desert, we're gonna go exploring. Better yet, we're gonna overnight on those motorcycles out in the Arizona desert, bang, done. And that's what this kid is talking about. Elliott, Missouri. You know? Oh, they just scored, dude. Sorry, Carolina just scored. Rooting for Green Bay, for the record. I just love Aaron Rodgers, man. That guy's a stud. This kid can't get his brothers motivated. How to best motivate them? That is a very difficult thing to do because electronic media has such a grasp on our youth and, frankly, on adults. They don't want to break away from it because if anything doesn't rise to the level and excitement of a fantasy world electronic entertainment game, they don't want to do it. So if you say, hey, dude, and I've done this before, come out with me, let's go test some knives. Well, what are we going to do? How long are we going to be gone? Why? Are you going to get back to your video game? Are you so busy you can't get out and adventure a little bit? Well, you know, lots of reasons. They don't want to do it. It's effort. It's work. And for my youngest son, last suspect, he doesn't like it. Like shooting, he's like, well, I'm not very good shooting. I feel like I'm going to fail. And he's very fearful of failure in life. That's his personality. So as a father, I try to work through that. I try to encourage him. I try to challenge him too. It's like, the only way you can overcome your fear of failure is by challenging yourself. These players on the field, these football players, and this is one reason I love NFL, they don't get there because they're afraid of failure. They're going to go out, they're going to fail, succeed, get beat up, recommit, do it again, recommit, do it again. It's a war, dude. And when it works out, it's exciting as us, as spectators, to watch. It's more exciting to do it in life. If you could somehow instill in your brothers, Mr. Elliott, Missouri, about how meaningless the video game life is, do it. Paint a picture of it. It's like, hey, dude, 10 years from now, we're all going to be separated, gone from now. Is this really the way you want us to remember our time as brothers together? Maybe it is. Maybe some of that, playing video games together in a social environment, as I've said, is beneficial. But as a way of life, no. No. Each day is a gift. You got that right, bro. And by the way, this dude loves my motorcycle videos. He loves it. I think it was him or someone else like, dude, hurry up and buy that 1190. Might have been another guy. Not yet. No money. And really, I don't need it. So, great question. I don't know if I answered it to a way that I can give these guys a kick in the pants to get up off the couch and go out with you adventuring. Paint for them the picture of, hey, in the future, what do we have? The clarity of losing family members changes people's perspectives. And I'm talking deaths in the family. Speaking from my own experience. Dad gets killed in an aircraft accident in our private airplane. It changed me for life. A lot of the philosophy I bring to the camera is pretty much formed by that experience. It was formative, losing my father. Because I was like, I don't have time to be dicking around in life. I've got to go, and I'm very driven that way. Number 2. This is from Gardner Construction in Seattle. Not really a question. It is a donation. $40 to IHF. And dudes, I'm going to do my best to get into the people who are deserving. I'm still going through the letters, though, seeing if people have suggestions. I'm really scared I'll do it wrong. You know, that I give it to people that aren't deserving. I worry about it. But thank you for Gardner Construction, Seattle, Washington. I won't show the address, but there's a $40 check. I prefer cash. Okay, number 3. Adam Holm in Minnesota. Adam Holm. Man, this is a great letter, and they're all great. I sure appreciate your correspondence. He's 17 years old. He just got back from a 50-mile bike ride when he writes this letter. He volunteers for the county park system. In the summertime, he's cruising around on his mountain bike, checking trails. In the wintertime, he's a ski patroller. He just enlisted in the Army active duty to be a combat medic. Wow, that's cool. And what do you know? Here we go again. This is the same question. His brothers are addicted to video games. Do we see a trend here? How do you motivate them for adventure? Friends don't want to go out either. So I'm going to jump into Adam's letter. He's in Minnesota. And let's see what he says. Oh, and by the way, check this out. Adam sent a picture of his knives. Very cool. It's got a Delica. It's got the SOG. Another Spyderco. Great multi-tool Prion 2. He says, thanks for the gear reviews. I've managed to get my hands on some, but once again, my independence, I got a whole list waiting. Something like that. And $20 to IHF. Thank you, sir. I'll make sure it gets in the right hands. He says, I've watched your adventure videos like many others. I've been motivated to get out more. My main problem is that I do it alone. When I was, where's the score by the way? Oh, they went to another game. The main problem is I do it alone. When I was younger, my family had more time and motivation to get out, mainly going camping, as my two older brothers have got summer jobs and gone to college. This has come to a standstill. I've seen this a lot from TMPers, that it's the youngest child, everyone else has moved on, they're watching TMP, they're getting stoked, they want to have friends and family to go out with them, and they've got no one. We'll talk about that. Mainly going camping, but as my two older brothers, I said that. For the last few years, I've been getting out by myself with a close friend and doing things in the outdoors. Let's see. Unfortunately, my oldest brother, now graduated from college, is addicted to video games. My father is old and past retirement. My mother would rather spend the day inside cleaning. Interesting. Mrs Nutnfancy is kind of that way, by the way. She is. We'll talk about Mrs Nutnfancy because there's so many great things and qualities that she has that make TMP possible. I've had some very serious and deep conversations with them about my feelings about us getting out in the woods that don't lead to action. I was wondering if you could advise me on anything else I could do to maybe make some action occur. Knowing my family is not my only option, I've also tried to turn to friends to get them out, and they don't seem to like the idea. Though I'm concerned about the health of my family, I'm also worried about making memories with people close to me with 10 months before I head out. I know you advocate doing just that. I will continue to get out and make my own memories. Any advice to how to make them more memorable? That is Adam H. in Minnesota. Well, knowing that you're going in active duty, I don't care if you're a medic or whatever, it is potentially dangerous. Your family should realize that, and they should be really going out of their way to spend some time with you. It's sad that they don't see that. But all of us at one time or another in life lose perspective. Do you know what I mean? That we don't really see what's important. We go, oh, you know, NFL Sunday is important, playing video games is important, and we need formative experiences, usually in the way of adversity, to wake us up. How to best get your brother off. It's the same question, isn't it, that we talked about in one from Elliot. Paint the picture for him. It's like, dude, I'm out of here. Is this really how we want to spend our time together? And I will tell you this, the draw of that electronic media is so strong, so powerful, that they may just go, I don't care. I'm good with this. And I don't know. Maybe start off small. Go on something small. Don't go for an overnight or something that these people may go and go, I don't want to invest that much time in it, but do something small that you know he enjoys. Okay, so maybe he likes shooting 22s, maybe he likes mountain biking. What's his favorite thing that he likes doing that you also enjoy? Get out, do a small activity, small time commitment, and make it fun. And then see what happens. And then go back and remind him of that. Hey, dude, you remember that Saturday we went out, we went to hit that trail mountain biking? That was a rush, man. You totally wiped out. By the way, you suck. You know, get that brother thing going. Maybe that will help. I wish you the best of luck. Again, I don't know if I have all the answers to that. It is a difficult situation. Now, we are a family in the Nutnfancy Project, I believe, and you will see some really quality comments down below that may help you. So peruse those, and I know this is a very common problem. We have an adventurer, no one to go out with. Oh, and I'm so glad I remembered this. Don't wait for him. Let's say it falls flat. He goes, hey man, no, I'm not interested, even in a day outing. Oh my gosh, what a throw, dude. Sorry. Getting distracted. And he goes, no, I'm not interested. Don't wait for him. You know, you haven't seen a lot of Bug Nester lately, right? It's because he's not available. You know, it's this or that. He's got all kinds of excuses. I'm not waiting around for him, man. Who knows what he's doing? I can't do this, can't do that. He's not really following the project, doesn't know what's going on. I press, dude. So I'll go out with my sons. I'll go out alone if I have to. I am not waiting. And that's the ultimate decision you have to make. There may be no one to go out with. So what do? Keep going out. You'll find somebody. And here's where you find these people. At the location you're adventuring. So let's say you live back east. You go, I'm going to go hike the Appalachian Trail. I got no one to go with. Hit it. Go. Start hiking. And lo and behold, who do you run into? People who are just like you. Voila. You made a new friend. Now you got to be open-minded, because us adventure types, we like guns, we like backpacking. A lot of people who like backpacking don't like guns. They're kind of on the left side of the political spectrum, but open your mind. They may be great people. Politically, you don't see eye to eye, but they could be a great backpacking partner. I have lots of friends who are Democrats, lots of friends who are on the left, and we love each other's company. Doesn't mean he convinces me otherwise, and vice versa. But you have to be mature about it. You don't go through this life going, well, I'm not going to associate with that person because he doesn't believe the way I believe. I wouldn't marry a wife like that for me, but for backpacking, totally. Charlie H. in Tennessee, he says he loves my thoughts on knives, guns, politics. He watches all the videos. It has been very influential in his life. He really loves how I taught him the importance of SAWC, size and weight constraints. He loves that. He's like, I'd never thought of that, and it's totally modified my systems. He really loves a video that I put out called Live to Impress Yourself. He wrote in his letter that before I watched that video, I was thinking it was really important to impress your family. My father. He's like, after watching that video, I realized that it's more important to impress yourself, because that is ultimately who you end up with in life. Yourself. Your sense of integrity. Just like we started the video off with. Do I want to sit on the bed for 6 hours to watch NFL? Yes, I do. But I want something better. And I know by looking in the mirror this day, I did it. It takes effort, it takes goal setting, it takes commitment. Live to impress yourself. I'm so glad you brought that video up. And it's a durable video. I have people approach me out of the blue. They go, dude, of all the videos you've done, one of the most impressive to me personally is Live to Impress Yourself. I have fathers and mothers that show that video to their children to echo what they're teaching them. I mean, what I put in that video is not groundbreakingly new. A lot of parents teach their kids that, but it's so nice to have an outside influence, especially one in YouTube. You know, hey, check this video out, dude. He's what I've been telling you all along. And maybe the kid goes, aha. Back to Charlie. He's 26 years old. He loved that video, Live to Impress Yourself. He works as a butcher in his family's business, but he wants to be a firearms instructor. He doesn't know how. How to get experience, how to establish a business. Any thoughts on that? First up, there's absolutely nothing wrong with working for the family business. There's absolutely nothing wrong being in a job you do not dig. And there's another one down here that will say that. Let me see where my time is. This is going by fast because there's so much good stuff to talk about. Don't fret if you're not in your perfect job, because we all have free time. It's really more important what you do with your free time. And if you're really miserable with your job, take steps to get a different job. We've talked about that. We will continue to talk about that at QTN. Qualify yourself. Again, look at that job very objectively. What do I need to do to get that job? What have others done to get that job? What social connections do I need? Move along. But working that family business job, it's not bad. You're helping your dad out. You know, it's paying the bills. What do you do with your free time? Now, if you want to go into a firearms instructor, I think that's cool. Here's what I'm going to say, and I'm just going to be dead honest, as I always am, is it's really difficult, because here's why. Because with the outbreak of Mideast war starting in 2003, we have a ton of people who've gone over there and seen armed conflict. They've been shooters in the Army, the Marines, Special Forces. They serve multiple tours in Iraq and Afghanistan. Then they come back, they're looking for a job, and some of them go, hey, I'm going to be a firearms instructor. I'm going to go to this tactical school. And so what has developed in the tactical community, not necessarily the firearms community, that's two different things in my opinion, is they go, hey, these are my credentials, I'm awesome because, and on comes the resume. They go, I went to Iraq, Afghanistan, I was a shooter, I was in this combat operation, and that's all good. But what develops is kind of a mindset that if a person hasn't gone through this, that you don't listen to them. And it's not really good, because there's a lot of people that may or may not have seen combat that are really good firearms instructors, that are really good tactical shooters. You know, just because they weren't shot at or killed people doesn't mean they're bad. But that's the tactical community. You know, they're selling their resume, they're selling themselves, and more importantly, they're selling image. So when you go to a website, you click on their tactical school, what are you going to see? They're going to be dressed in multicam. It's going to be a picture of them in combat operations. They've got the special operations beard. They're looking like badasses. And that's their image. Now, the firearms community is different. The firearms community is what I will think, and I could be totally off, but like a group of NRA certified instructors. Maybe they were soldiers, maybe they weren't, but they're good shooters. Maybe they're competitors, maybe they aren't, but they're good shooters. They know how to teach shooting. They are, and this is ultra important as a firearms instructor, relatable to the student. They are not haughty. They don't talk down to the student. They use the good things that the student has. They reward him and they compliment that student. Go, great job on this, great job on this, try this. They're motivational. Okay, they're in the student's corner. Do you have to be a combat vet to have that? No. You do have to be a good shooter, and you do have to know what you're talking about. And preferably you have to have some type of experience that student can look at. It doesn't have to be combat, but hey, this guy was a competitor, IPSC competitor for, you know, this many years. He has to be, you have to know and demonstrate competency as an instructor. Okay, so how to get that experience? You need to shoot a lot. You need to compete on a team, and you need to hone your own skills even before you think about teaching someone else. And then once you're squared away as a shooter, I'm talking really squared away as a shooter, revolver platforms, semi-automatic pistols, lever action, shotgun. This is just me. And this is pretty much TMP, right? I mean, I bounce into every platform. Boom, 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 boom. I love the challenge, you know, like the PW87 shotgun review. I love that challenge. Or learn how to run a lever action 1887 shotgun, dude. It was a challenge and I loved it. It was so fun. Do that, get experience. Try to document your experience as best you can, because people will ask you about it. What's your experience? How do I know you're telling the truth? Because a lot of people do forge. Hey, I was this, I was that. They start digging in their records. He wasn't any of that. Now what do you do? I wish you the best of luck. But after you gain experience, go be an NRA certified instructor and go volunteer to teach, build your resume, and then if you want to try to make money at it, go for it. Let me tell you this though, there are a lot of places that do what you're doing, teaching people how to shoot, and they charge money for it. Just click around on the internet. I mean, they're a dime a dozen. They have proliferated since I started TMP to the 10th power. So just my thoughts. Sensabaugh, Mason Sensabaugh in Arkansas. Wow, what a great letter this is. He's 24, his wife is 22. He works as an insurance agent at his dad's company, and this is what he writes. Oh, and by the way, dudes, this is how you do it. I mean, single page, and most of you guys did great with this. I really appreciate it. Single page, right here, bro. Simple. The owl is on the shed. I repeat, the owl is on the shed. Right on, dude. He goes, hey, dude, I've been watching TMP since 2012. I have the utmost respect for your work. I am now 24. My wife is 22. I work at a desk job as an insurance agent for my dad's agency. I think I covered all that. My wife is in her first year of a master's program and on a path to go to medical school in a few years. This letter is not about career advice, but I want to mention it because it relates to my question. I hate my job. And I hope someday to find something that I actually enjoy doing for a living. But I suck it up and try to be thankful. I want to thank you for your voice of clarity and sanity about sticking with a career you may dislike if it promises opportunity and freedom. It's making me into a better person that appreciates freedom and how time is spent more than ever before. Isn't that the theme that's just winding through QTN and TMP continuously? And we see it here again. This brings me to my actual question. You and Mrs. Nutton seem to have a very strong marriage and bond, even though I know that all the work and adventures you do take up a ton of time, not to mention the years of deployments and trials of being away for months at a time. You are correct. I'm just going to keep reading, then I'll come back to that. I believe that my wife and I have a similarly strong bond that you and your wife do as well, but we get discouraged by the lack of time we have together that isn't filled with running errands, that's a foot stomper, working on broken stuff in our new house, homework, or just sleeping. But we are constantly exhausted. I know most people would say, hey, you don't have kids, what are you complaining about? I say you're correct, we don't, but we couldn't handle it. We communicate well and are usually on the same page, and I try to stay open-minded toward each other's needs and concerns. Unfortunately, even though we have a strong marriage, I feel like things are constantly pulling us apart. How do you, Mrs. Nutton, stay energetic, satisfied, and focused when so much is going on in your life? How do your hobbies and extra activities play in the role of your marriage? Does it help or become a topic of you leaving all the time? Does she have anything like you do with TNP to maintain balance? Are you guys, I told you, you guys are just amazing. What a great letter. Are you actively involved in those hobbies or just supportive from a distance because not all hobbies float a guy's boat? Thanks, Mason. P.S. You got me interested in adventure bikes. Can't wait. Here it is. Till you get that freaking KTM 1190. Also, thanks for showing what is cool and more importantly, why. Mason. Wow, what a great letter. Mrs. Nutnfancy and I, our marriage. Probably the most important decision you can make in life, guys, is who you marry. That person will have a tremendous influence on who you turn out to be, what you achieve in life, what you don't achieve in life. Watch the series Breaking Bad. Do I have to say anything more? Yes, it's fictitious, but it's very much based in things that have happened in reality. You can have one of the spouses drag the other one down into parts unknown. On the other side, you can have a very supportive wife or husband that allows you to be yourself. And therein lies the greatness. One of the many great things about my wife, Mrs. Nutnfancy, is she allows me to be myself. As far as TNP goes, she doesn't watch the videos. I can't get her to watch any of the videos. She already knows me. She knows my philosophy. We've been married, 26 years now? Very happily, I might add. You put your finger on that. We both support each other in what we each like to do. When I saw Mrs. Nutnfancy as a young man, I identified in her some qualities that I really, really liked. One is that she cussed a lot. I never told you this, but she did. She was like her dad. She cussed a lot, and I don't know, I kind of liked it. She wasn't, really Molly. She just there's some edginess to her, and that was cool, and I think it was indicative of some strength within her. Now, as we got married, I saw that to be the case. She is a very strong person. She doesn't outwardly show that, but inside, she's not scared of much. That was witnessed when we lost our 2 children in late-term pregnancy. She had to still deliver both of those children. I don't know if I've even told you that. I think I have. But we had we had Tactical Doodle, and the 2 children after that, we had pregnancies. A long story short, she has anti-cardiolipid syndrome and on top of RA. I'm sorry to burden you with all this. And we lost a little boy and a little girl. Late-term pregnancy. The babies were fine. The placenta shut down. The babies starved to death. We still delivered both of those. Mrs. Nutnfancy almost died on the second one. We've been through some crap. I've looked into her soul, and she doesn't fear it. After that experience, she goes, I want another kid. And I was like, The doctors, the perinatologist specialist group is going, no, don't do that. You're putting your life at risk if you get pregnant. She goes, no, I don't care. I don't care if I die. I'm bringing another kid in this life. And she was in charge of that, not me. And so, long story short, maybe I'll share the specifics, or better yet, she will share the specifics with you. We go to a high-risk group. We go to Dr. DeWare Branch. He's University of Utah. He administers the pregnancy of what came to be our beloved son, last suspect, who was born in this world somewhat premature, but he survived. And I saw Mrs. Nutnfancy, her character is that she just says, when it comes down to her life, she's like, whatever. That's her. She's sweet. She's forgiving. She's not an adventurer, though. I don't get Mrs. Nutnfancy. She says, hey, let's go for a mountain bike ride. She never says that. She doesn't say, hey, let's jump on the adventure bike, go on the desert. She doesn't do that. She never says, hey, let's go shooting. She allows me to do it, and she's totally cool with that. But she's not by my side going, hey, this is awesome, eating it up. That's not our marriage. I have friends who have a marriage like that. They're adventure partners. They're competing in the racquetball court together. They're trying to outrace each other on the mountain bikes. That's just not something I wanted, and it's not something I got. Let me tell you this, you're never going to get everything you want out of a spouse, ever. You're lucky if you get 60% of what's on your list, and I'm talking man or woman. Hey, I'd really like it if he'd fix things around the house. Meanwhile, he's sitting on the bed watching NFL. Hey, I'd really like it if he helped me with this, helped me with that. He doesn't, but he's very kind. He brings you flowers. He never forgets your birthday. He takes you out to eat.
Yeah.
Is he lazy in some ways? Probably.
Yeah, cool.
Does he have the best job? Maybe he does, maybe he doesn't. There's always pluses and minuses.
Yeah, well, I kind of went
for our marriage.
Yeah.
You have to be unselfish in marriage to make it work. You cannot just be all about you. It's pretty much a guaranteed way to fail at a marriage. I gotta crank through this, but there's so much to this topic. And I'm not the expert, but I have been married for 26 years, happily. For Mrs. Nutnfancy and I, one thing she loves, for instance, she loves watching reality TV. I hate it. She likes Dancing with the Stars. So what do? I break away from the Nutnfancy project, I break away from my real job, and I make time for her. And I will sit next to her, listening to her, and we will watch Dancing with the Stars together. Because she's my wife. If she wants to talk about something, even though I may or may not be interested, I listen. I disengage and I listen. I am her sounding board. And I will agree with her. I'm her cheering team. I was like, yeah, that sucks. Yeah, that person's an idiot. Yeah, I hate that too. You need to support your spouse. They need to feel like that anytime they want, you are a sounding board for them. And that is so important. That's much more important than sex. It's much more important than, even flowers. Just a day-to-day being there for your spouse and being reachable to them. Communication is key. You're talking to them all the time. Every day you should do that. And when I do TMP, I'll have research and reviews and so much work to do. But guess who gets the first crack at my time? You can ask any of my family this. They do. I go, hey, do you guys want me to spend time with you? Hey, do you want me to watch Dancing with the Stars with you? And it's a fun show. Don't get me wrong. It's okay. It's this other crap she watches, like Biggest Loser. Oh, gosh, I can't stand that show. Sorry, I hate it. I have been known to watch it with her, just pretending I'm putting up with it. No. Spend time with them. Both Mrs. Nutnfancy and I also have a lot of things in common, and this is what you want with your spouse. Are you going to get everything you want? No, but you should have some key things in common. I mentioned earlier the political thing. We see eye to eye on politics. We see eye to eye on the gun issue. We see eye to eye on the freedom issues, constitutional issues, religion issues. Yes, we are on board together with that. We're also project people. Mrs. Nutnfancy's busy. I mean, she is always doing something. She just redid our fireplace mantle. Here's a photo. That's her. I mean, she built that from scratch. She is constantly cutting, designing, building, all by herself. She doesn't have the skill. She goes out and learns it. That's her. That's how I am too. We're always busy. We went to Hawaii one year, and everyone says, oh, I went to Hawaii, sat on the beach. And we sat on the beach just kind of sitting around looking. I mean, it's cool. I love the beach. I love the water. But I want to go adventuring. I want to go surfing. I want to go scuba diving. I want to go spear fishing. I want to go kite surfing. I want to go out and do it. Not sit on the beach. And we just sat there. This is boring. We'd rather be back home doing our projects, dude. And that's what we are. Listen to your wife, though. Do things together. What does she enjoy doing? I mentioned that. One example. There's lots of things Mrs. Nutton likes doing. What does your wife like doing? That's what you need to spend your time doing. Once in a while. Maybe she likes going to craft stores. Maybe she likes going to furniture stores. Maybe she wants to go to craft fairs, a Christmas festival, a Halloween festival, a swap meet. What does she like doing? Spend time with her. Put what you want on the back burner and go spend time with her. And vice versa, she should be doing that with you. Hey, I want to go out biking. You want to go with me? Like Mrs. Nutnfancy, you see her in the motorcycle videos with me. You're going to see a lot more of her. She loves doing that. She doesn't say, hey, let's go out biking. I'm usually the one pushing it. But why do I do that? The bigger picture is, I don't know how long I'll have Mrs. Nutton. We've talked about this before, health issues and stuff. You need to maximize your time. How do you do it? Spending time together. We went on the California motorcycle trip on the FJR, went down the coast of California. We stayed at a bed and breakfast. Man, that was cool. We both value that. It's a wonderful experience, a wonderful memory. That's what you do with your wife. Your most important person in the world. And by the way, they are more important than your children. Your first obligation is to your spouse. happy marriage, listening to them, supporting them. Maybe you should give her a back rub or something she likes. It lets her know that you love her. Maybe it's flowers sometime. That's what marriage is about. Marriage is no big thing. It's a bunch of little things, man. Just one little thing after another. What a great letter. I sure appreciate it, dude. I got to press on. Seagulls. Look, check this out. Fighting with each other. Bickering. Maybe they need my marriage advice too. By the way, I think I'm doing a pretty good job of staying focused with the game in there. It is commercial right now, so I do have that going for me. Number 6 is from, where's my notes? Matt C. in Pleasanton, California. He's a knife fan. I think I'll read his letter. I would like to first thank you for all your hard work in TMP. It has been an educational and inspirational effect in my life. With that said, I would like to apologize in advance how long this letter will be. In that case, I'll summarize. Here's a paragraph I can read. I would like you to know that all of your videos you produce, my wife and I enjoy the ones where you go backpacking with a friend and your dog, Allie. Speaking of Allie, she's doing good. She's 10 and a half years old. She's had double knee surgeries. Thank you to TMPers who helped with that. She really is about as healthy as a black lab can be at her age. I run her about twice a week on the bike. She's as sweet as can be. We just love her, and we are dreading the time when she dies. We talk about it, and it's just going to tear us apart. As a family, it'll tear you apart. She's part of the TMP experience. Oh my gosh. But she's had a great life. We've just, I mean, I look back on my life with Allie, my dog, and I just don't know what I would do different. I'll cry if I keep talking about her because I love her so much. I especially enjoy the time when you're testing some gorgeous fixed blade knives. Yes, your biggest impact on my wallet has been the purchase of knives. I didn't even know I was a knife guy until I discovered your channel. Do you know how many guys are like that? I've turned thousands and thousands and thousands onto sport, tactical, fixed blade knives. You're welcome, knife industry. I've have many of the knives that you've reviewed, enjoy using them. Several of which were purchased for me by my wife as wedding, anniversary, or Christmas gifts. See, sometimes I do the reviews, I'm talking to the wives. It's his wife, right there, dude. That's who I'm talking to. Again, this is Matt C. in Pleasanton. By the way, what's up with Pleasanton? I went to a motorcycle shop in California last week. I was like, hey, what are the worst cop places? You know, my video I just posted. And I love police officers, you know that. But I don't like speed traps. Hate it. They go Pleasanton. I was like, really? They're like, yeah, Pleasanton, dude. We have more problems and hear about more problems in Pleasanton than any place around. I know, and I've read some of your comments in that other video. It's everywhere. I mean, back east, oh my gosh. Go read the comments. Guys just say, speed trap here, speed trap there. Anyways, back to the letter. I missed those Sledgehammer videos too. Okay, about that, where are the Sledgehammer videos? I'll throw that right back to the audience. Where are you? Because last series I posted of a running and gunning tactical drill, they did not impress me for views, and so you haven't seen them for years. Too many other things to do. I mean, I can do a political video and destroy it for views. Sledgehammer, where I go out and I spend $500 on the run and gun things and that I need. Nah. I still like doing it, but the audience is to blame, not me. If the audience watches, you'll see more of it. We do have a sponsored shoot coming up. It will be along the lines of Sledgehammer. I may set up the Sledgehammer drill for it. I may. I can't promise. I'm still thinking about how to best do it. Finally, I want you to know you have turned a sleeping citizen into a neighborhood sheepdog. I have food and water for emergencies. I help my neighbors and take a no chicken shit attitude at work. Whoop, sorry. I'm just reading this letter. I was born and raised in California and don't even recognize my state anymore.
SIG.
Awesome.
P227.
Every time I go to your website and buy one of those cool owl patches, they are sold out. Can you make some more? I just told Tactical Doodle, I was like, dude, you need to order some patches because they go. So I apologize for that. They are gone a lot. We try to run them, but we will discontinue them at one time. So if you want owl patches or any of the other stuff, get them while they're there because they don't make a lot of money for us. And Doodle, when I talked to him yesterday to order some, he's like, dude, I hate doing these things. They're a hassle. But I was like, do them. They like it. Number 7, this is from Ethan Coates in Illinois. He's 17, watches the vids. He says they have completely changed his life. He calls me his biggest mentor. Thank you for that. Hope your dad's in the picture somewhere, and he's also a mentor. Bigger than me is what I would hope. He's watched all my videos. His parents are anti-dangerous things. I remember this guy's letter now. He was raised pretty much by protectionist parents is what he's saying. He wants to move out west with his girlfriend. They're planning and saving to do just that. She is an adventurer. She's very much on board with the gun issue. His question is this: I want to be a state trooper in California. Do you think I should do that or become an officer in a city, state, or other local department? What are your thoughts, Nutnfancy? My thoughts are this. Always know what you're getting into. I love law enforcement. I'm a big supporter. I work with them all the time. They're excellent. But as we progress down this road we're on as America, I think I've made that ultimately clear. What role are you going to play as a law enforcement guy? Are you going to be asked to do things you don't want to do? What I really want to see, by the way, is an organization that crops up that supports officers from all municipalities, either federal, state, local, that decide not to enforce unconstitutional law. And they have a huge legal team and they have money to support this legal team. So said officer says, hey, I'm not going to do an unconstitutional roadblock. He's done his research. This organization rolls in and supports him because he's going to get in a lot of trouble. He may get sued. He may get punitive punishment from his department. I digress, but it is part of this decision you're going down. Colorado Trooper. I don't know about that agency. May be cool, may not be cool. Do your research. That's your job. Find out. The type of police officer, or I should say law enforcement official, that I lean towards and like best is probably a sheriff's department, because a sheriff's department will have its own personality. They're not beholden to a city which is, embroiled in politics. You saw that after Sandy Hook, right? That all the sheriff's association came out and said, hey, well, not all, but the cool ones did, said, hey, we're not going to enforce unconstitutional gun laws. We're not. By the way, I may go a little bit long on this, but it's so good, I have to. I'd probably go be a sheriff and do your research. Be a sheriff out in Colorado, dude. Find one that has some really cool areas that you can, some wide open spaces, do it. Remember, Colorado's got a 15-round magazine ban, thanks to the Democrats out there. It wasn't the Democrats. Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was. Sorry, dude. I like that best. I support you in it. I hope you do it. And contrary to what some people may think, they go, well, now Nutnfancy doesn't think I should be a cop. No, that's actually just the opposite. We need more people like you being police officers, being troopers, people who think like we do, doing that job, who have common sense, who have a constitutional grounding. We need to infiltrate those organizations with good officers. Not that they aren't already. A lot of them already have it. That's where I'm at on that. I got to press. Tom Rees in North Carolina is a senior in high school. He loves fast cars and motorcycles too. He loves those videos. Cool. And let's see what else. He says, how do I strike a balance of saving money and preparing for adventure? By the way, this Tom dude is a NASCAR pit member. I'm not making that up. It is cars number 23, 87, and 15. This TMPer is on a NASCAR pit crew. Sponsored, I believe, by Nationwide. That's cool. But his question is balance of money, balance of adventure gear, and going out and adventuring. How do I do that? And he says he is financially conservative. That is good. First thing I'm going to say to you is avoid debt. Okay, you may see something super cool and you go, oh, I want to go buy that gun. Let's say it's a Tavor. I'm going to go put it on my credit card. Don't do it. Unless the end of the world is coming, then it doesn't matter. Don't do it. You have a 100% chance of getting in trouble if you do not pay that debt, and it limits your freedom. You're better off starting small like I did as a poor college student, planning your purchases smart. What were some of my purchases? Well, I came into small chunks of money, and instead of go piss them away in something that didn't matter, like, I don't know, cigarettes, alcohol, doing some, I never did that anyhow, but let's say I did. I was like, hey, I'm going to go on a bender. I just spent $600 on booze for my buddies. We had like a kegger. Heck no, I'm going to take that chunk of money and go buy a Sig 226, which I still have. If you have a chunk of money, plan your purchases out. What do I need most in my system? Do I need armament? Do I need food? Do I need lighting? all of which I will talk more about in TNP. Do I need clothing? And all the while, you have to do life. You have to do life. Speaking of which, that last letter, I forgot to mention this. He says, yeah, all we do is do errands. This is kind of along the same lines. We can, just blow our life away just doing life. And I find myself caught up in the same trap. I'm doing errands. This needs to get fixed. This thing needs to be chased down. And I always have to be smart to say, how can I best attack this job? So I have more time for family, more time for my real job, more time for TNP. What I'm doing is constantly shucking the jive, as I call it, bringing home the love. What I do is I shop on Amazon. Hey, I could go to Walmart and spend 2 hours, or I can just click, Amazon, done. That's what I do. How do you make more time for the things that are important, that are truly, truly important? And going back to your question, Tom, planning adventure, play it smart. Small. What requirements do I have? It's real easy to get distracted and buy crap you don't need, or you already had that covered. For instance, let's say you have an AR-15 too. You have a long range and a short range. You have an SPR, tactical carbine. They're set up the way you want them. Oh, look at that Tavor, man. That's a cool gun. It is a cool gun. It's combat proven. It is combat proven. Do you need it? Probably not. You already got it covered. Now, you bring in more family members to the situation where they can help with the security of a WROL situation. You need more guns. But maybe it's a Mosin Nagant, with a 10 of ammunition. You can train them how to use it. Be smart. Also, know your stage in life. You're young right now. What are you, 17? You're a senior in high school. I love the way you're thinking. You're very mature for your age, but play it smart. You're young, be patient. Don't think you can have everything at once. It won't be that way. It's going to take years, a decade for you to acquire these things. You're much better off being financially conservative, putting some money away, buying a thing here, a thing there, and striking what I call a good balance. You can pretty much err on both sides. You can go, well, all I'm doing is saving. I'm not ever going to spend any money. And there's lots of people like that. I knew an elderly couple. They had tons and tons of money. They had all these great plans. They retired. They both worked for the school system. Things were looking great. Man, they had a ton of money. I'm talking millions in the bank. They're in their 60s. They do one trip to Thailand, came back. She dies. Health gone. Your health as a young person is important. For me, it's important. But you want to balance it out. It's like, I want to do adventures. I want to do this and that. I want to save, but you got to strike a balance. Do we save everything? No. I think you should go out and spend money for adventures. Obviously, that's what the channel's about. But be smart about it. Otherwise, you may get yourself in a hole. They don't like it. Where are we at on the score? It's another show on, man. I don't know. I'm pretty sure Green Bay slaughtered them. Be my guess. Next, Sam Haviland from Louisiana is only 8 years old. He writes a letter. He says, hello, Nutnfancy. My name is Samuel. I'm 8 years old. Right now I have an orange Kershaw Skyline and a Leatherman PST2. Hopefully I can soon get a Leatherman PS4. See how he's planning? He realizes he can't get everything at once. He's planning. It's good to dream. Have dreams, have goals. A Gerber dime and a Spyderco Dragonfly Salt 2. Wow, these guys are funny. Anyways, thanks for the nice knife, multi-tool gun reviews. Keep them coming. I got paper blowing everywhere. The wind's picking up. Sam in Louisiana. Thank you, Sam. He's only 8 years old. I read that to make a few points, and that is the instruction of our kids, our youth. Something I believe strongly in. Whoever the parents are of this kid, I'm pretty sure they're on the right path. Number one, they let him have dangerous things, and they probably teach him how to use those dangerous things safely. That builds a sense of responsibility and of self-confidence in that kid. So well done, parents of Sam. I know you're out there. You're probably TNPers too. You're hiding in the shadows, I know, but part of my thing is to influence our youth for good. Work ethic. Know how to work. Don't be afraid of hard work. Be a great worker, a valuable worker. The video workers are few. It's just one of those messages I've sent out into the world. I believe in it. That work, by the way, will get you those knives. You get the job, you get the disposable income, you can use it for that. Be kind to your fellow man. Serve your fellow man. That's what the sheepdog concept video is about in TNP. That's a message I've sent out to the youth as well. Be a man. What is a man? Well, a man can handle adversity. He knows how to fix things. He's responsible and good with his family. He takes care of his family. He doesn't abandon his family. If something goes down bad, he's there. He's a warrior if he has to be. If I have to go to war to defend my family, both in the traditional context or in the context of WROL, I will do it. That to me is part of being a man. It's part of being a good person in life. Invest time. Know how to have real fun. Avoid the pitfalls in life. We've talked about one of them really hard, and that's electronic gaming. So sorry, that's just the way I feel. Last but not least, I got to wrap this up. Maybe an hour or so. This is such a great letter. I just have to read it. It might be emotional, but it's oh well. This is coming from the great state of Texas. It is Andy B. I don't know if you want me to tell your last name, but in July of 2008, while finishing up a 15-month tour in the Kunar province of Afghanistan, I was shot in the neck by a Russian anti-aircraft weapon known as a DSKA, D-S-K-A. The large 12.7 armor-piercing bullet first ripped through a stack of sandbags where it sheared off the jacket before coming to a stop in the middle of my spine. As a result, my 7th cervical vertebrae was completely destroyed. The doctors fused from C6 down to T1 to stabilize what was left of that section of cord and surrounding bone structure. In the days since that fateful summer day, I have of course returned to Texas and began to make a life for myself in spite what has been a world-rocking occurrence. Except for 1 year that I've taken off to deal with the subsequent health issues. I've been to college since 2012. My desire is to start up a commercial real estate business within the next 2 to 4 years. In August of 2013, I married the love of my life, who oddly enough was one of the nurses that helped me put my life back together during the physical rehabilitation that took place in Tampa, Florida. What a great letter. Though it has been anything but easy, together with my wife of just over 1 year, we have created a life that we both very much enjoy and very much believe that God has many great things in store for us. Throughout the post-gunshot wound years, I've always tried to take advantage of an opportunity to heartily thank those who have had a hand in not only saving my life, but also those who have helped me move on to greater things. I'm going to stop right there and interject this before I forget it. Gratitude is a great attribute. To be thankful to people who help you and expressing that gratitude, it makes you a more humble person and a kinder person. I like how he put that in the letter. Brief examples include the doctors and nurses and therapists who watched over my physical well-being and set me up for success by teaching me how to use my body that I now have to its fullest potential. Also, close friends and family members have held my hand, lifted me up in prayer when the days did indeed seem dark, and kicked my tail when the situation dictated tough love are absolutely invaluable. Their worth is incalculable. Additionally, a significant portion of the story's valuable players list includes persons that have had a hand in my survival, but I will actually never get to meet. One such group are the pilots and crew and flight nurses who flew me off the battlefield and onto subsequent levels of care. Unfortunately, I'll likely never meet the men. Sorry. I'm remembering because I did medevac missions in Afghanistan, and we flew out some busted up boys, and he could have been one of them. And I often thought in the back of the KC-135 what those boys were going through as they're all blown up. Now I know. Unfortunately, I'll never meet the men and women who manipulated the controls of the Globemaster that moved me out of Afghanistan back to the States where the real work began. So he was carried out by a C-5. In one of your videos, I believe it was one of the Air Force stories, you mentioned driving one of those planes. You said that you, Nutnfancy, were one of the dudes that moved us broken guys out of harm's way and back to the greatest country in history of the world. So I want to take this rare opportunity to say thank you. Thank you for attacking that job, for doing it and doing it well. The ability to move injured soldiers off the battlefield and onto higher levels of care quickly is truly one of the military's greatest achievements. It would not, however, be a possibility without without the men willing to do the grunt work. And women. I don't know if you've ever heard from any of the personnel that benefited from those rides, but I want you to know we are grateful for what you did. I think about you and your fellow pilots often. In addition, I benefited on many occasions from the duties performed by KC-135s that kept fighters and the A-10s, my favorite aircraft of all time, he writes, running and gunning. You guys kept Hodge off our backs on so many occasions I cannot count them. In closing, I want to once again thank you. I truly believe it cannot be expressed often enough. I'm sorry, I'm screwing this up. Thanks for being the best pilot you could be and for doing exactly what you did. Indeed, there are many of us that feel the effects of your actions for years to come. Keep the vids coming, my friend. I'm just going to say his name, Andy Burnett, 173rd Airborne Brigade Combat Team, U.S. Army. Injured in action. You are welcome, my friend. I thought of you on those missions, and I thought of boys like you. I thought of you as we were refueling those A-10s and knowing that maybe, just maybe, we can give you the ground. I am one small part of the puzzle that can give you the rounds on target that may keep you alive and accomplish your objective. I'm out of time. Like I said, meaningful stuff. Questions, Nutnfancy. Pray for me in this. I need your prayers. It's tough for me. I sometimes approach these episodes with no confidence at all. I find my stride. I'm buoyed up. And I get confidence in it, and that's what you see now. You are watching the Nutnfancy Project. It is much more than about just gear, than about motorcycles. It's about people. It's about life. It's about living a life that you're proud of. Signing off. Thank you so much. See you